I've heard people say that they used condom, but it didn't work. They found themselves. So that's
With twist.
So is it that the condom was expired or?
No, scenarios like that, yeah. I think there are different types of condoms. Yeah, there are different types, honestly speaking. There are different types. So probably one, you didn't buy your type, you bought oversized. Or you bought the one that is too tight and it burst. Those two things can happen. Or you bought expired one, like you said. Those are the things that can happen. But I saw a video on TikTok where secondary school students, they are doing this proposing, kissing in classes. These are
So that
things
is
that
what-
you don't do.
that is what-
A man will cry about being in a certain something that a lady will cry out, and people are, yeah, they do that to you. When a man will talk about it, people are always like, come on, you be man now.
of course.
How man go do that to you?
That is.
They both came together for that to happen.
It started from him. No, it's both sides.
Yeah, they both came together
There should
to
be an
make it
agreement
happen.
before action takes place.
But sometimes it causes this persuasion, and then
No.
Hey guys, welcome to Perspective Gist podcast, where we talk about various topics based on our perspective, just like our podcast says. So my name is Mona Lisa, and with me is Jojo, my co-host. So Jojo, what's the topic for today? What are we going to talk about?
Okay, thank you for that. We're going to be looking at sex education.
Okay.
Is sex education important for students?
Sex education, if it's important for students.
Yes. Is it important for them to be educated about it? And at what grade should that education, should they be given, should they be educated?
Yeah.
At what grade, from which grade? Is it from grade 1, grade 2, or from grade 7, or from grade 10?
Yeah. And I think before we even dodge into that or say anything into that, I think we should at least first of all try and define what sex education means, or enlighten people what it means, the definition of it, before there's some few people who might not. I'm not trying to be a bit biased or anything, but we need to at least, what is sex education, what is sex, what is education now, what is sex education together? Just is that something you'd like to broaden out? Yeah, the academia here now.
Talking about sex, it's not only the academicians that know about that.
Yeah.
And this present generation, you don't need to define. People define it in the way they understand it.
Yes.
So that is why it will be a little bit difficult for you to say that, or to give a definition. People define it according to different perspectives.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. So when you talk about sex, I believe it's talking about intimacy.
Yes.
Between a man and a woman.
An adult, actually. Let's put that there. An adult man to an adult woman.
Yes.
That one should be there.
So that's what but looking at the present day generation.
Yeah.
Sex is not actually taking place between two adults.
And that's why we're divining it now. It's adult that should be involved in it.
Yes.
That's the point.
It should happen between two adults.
Yes.
Okay? And adults, a woman that has reached an adult age, and a man that...
So education on its own now, education is just installing knowledge, experience into someone else. I guess that's what education is all about. So if we're not saying sex education, I believe sex education is the knowledge of the intimacy itself and the likes. So that being said, now why is sex education important?
Well. Sex education is very, very important because it will help you, as an adult, to be able to to have more knowledge about what you want to go into, and to be able to know how to prevent yourself, because So everything, there is an advantage and there is a disadvantage.
Okay.
So having much knowledge about sex, we know when to do it and when not to
Do it. Yes.
Okay, that's the little thing I can say about.
Yes, about sex education.
Yes.
Because the reason why I believe sex education is important also is because, just like you said, this generation, they've made sex to look like it's a norm, especially people who are not even up to that age, the adult age that wish, legally it's 18 years. The adult age is legally 18 years. But 18 years, I feel like you're still too young for that. In my opinion, you're still too young, especially when we're looking into the school, and if we're heading towards the secondary school of the if you're still in secondary school, because these things have complication. And even when you're in school, because we're talking about sex education for students who are, for students, and if you're in school and you're not educated enough about it, I believe there are a lot of complications that can come from this. You get what I'm saying? There are a lot of complications. And I've been through primary school, secondary school, even in university right now, you don't see your lecturer or teacher talking to you about it. When I was in secondary school, we did biology. I mean, that's mostly where we first of all heard about this thing. But then it's more about reproductive system. We're not hearing anything outside of reproductive system. And even when I was in my junior grade, then we did this health science. But my teacher then was not too open about teaching us these things like, oh, when you do this with a boy, this is what might happen, or when you do this with a girl, or these are some of the things that, might happen or might lead to. It was just more about, sexual transmitted disease, the reproductive body again, more like that. But our kids this day, they are more enlightened. It's like they've already started indulging in it before they are even taught in school.
Yeah. That is because it is as a result of social media.
Yeah, social media.
Yes. Social media has actually taught a lot of children, about some things they are yet to learn from school. But as parents, let's look at before schools were built and children were asked to go to school and learn and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, before the coming of the European, there was nothing like school. What our great-grandparents were doing, they taught them at home.
Okay.
That is where they learn about sex education. The little they know, they teach the children, okay, about it. But then it helps a lot, it helps a lot. Comparing it to today's generation, sometimes parents are scared to teach their children.
Yeah, I feel that too. Maybe they are not that open enough to let their kids know what it is. And I think when you go to our great grandparent before the European time, I feel like culture was more of the reason why it's more, I think, more better than more preserved. Sex was more preserved. I think it was because of culture, because then they believed in these gods, Orisha, the likes of it. And then if you do this with another lady who is not your wife, you maybe thunder will strike down. Those sort of things. They had this like taboos. Those sort of things
that guided them into what is right and what is not right. And that prevented so many things. Comparing it to today's generation. Today's generation, they don't care. They don't care. And social media is there. Even if as a parent, you can't teach your child, they will learn it from the social media.
That's
and when they learn it from the social media, they will want to practicalize it.
Yeah.
They want to see.
It's true. You're saying something, and there are some sites you go on, and then maybe it might be like you want to download a movie. I have been to movie sites to download the movie, and you're seeing this ad popping up showing some sort, and you're 10, you're 11, you're seeing something like, Okay,
And some of them will be curious.
you're
Like,
curious, like I have this on my body. What is
so
this? What am I
is this
saying?
all about?
What is all
Let
about?
me in fact go deeper.
But as funny as it sounds, it's affecting the mentality of the children nowadays. It's really affecting them. And some of them are now, I saw a video on TikTok where secondary school students, they are doing this proposing, kissing in classes. These are
So that
things
is
that
what
you don't do.
that is what social media has caused. It has caused more damage to today's in the life of most of the children, you know.
Yeah.
So the world has turned upside down. So if we are talking about sex education, even if children are taught about sex in school, what they want to do, they will still do it.
Okay.
But it's only the ones that have strict parents that sometimes are not victims of.
Or do you think?
Of
I don't think
teenage
strict. I don't think strict parents should be the key word here. I think parents who are more involved in their kids' life, parents who are willing to know what's going on. Like I have a younger sister. Okay, I have a younger sister. Whenever she comes home from school, I know my mom is not around most of the time. So whenever she comes home from school, I'm usually asking her a question like, "Oh, how was school? What did you do in school today? What were you taught in school today? Do you have an assignment?" Questions like that, just so she would know, oh, I'm involved in her activity in school. Sometimes asking her how was school, she just start going like, oh, my teacher did this, my teacher did this student, this. Like, I just asked you how was school. I was expecting a fine, but she started telling me things. So that way, she know, oh, she's involved in my life. There's a time she had a birthday. She had like friends come over, boys and girls. When I was asking her, oh, I noticed she was close to one guy among them, and I knew like, okay, I think that we know these things. Like with our people who we know, like, okay, I'm very connected to this person. I've passed through this thing. So I noticed, and I'm like, this guy, what's his name? She told me. I said, is he intelligent? She said, oh yeah, he's intelligent. I said, okay. So that's why you guys are friends. She said, yeah, that's why we're friends. I said, fine. I called him as well. I said, what's your name? He told me. I said, all right. He said he's in science department. He's this. Oh, okay, that's good. And okay, you guys be good friends. Just study, do this. Yes, ma, thank you. That's it. That's alone, oh, my sister, she's there for me. And I feel like that's what some parents don't do enough for their kids. I get it. You're busy, you're tired, that's work. But once in a while, try and have that moment where you can just ask your kid, what's going on with school? Who are your friends? Both the opposite sex and the same gender. Ask them, because sometimes it might not be the opposite sex. It might be that same friend who is the one leading you or telling you stuff that's not supposed to. So you tell them, whenever someone is saying stuff like this, don't be there. Move away from it, no matter how curious you can be. So I feel like most of these things, charity always begin at home. That's where it should begin, from home. Then school can just try and do their best, but I think like parents should do more. That's the thing. Oh, what do you think? Yeah,
that's the same thing we are saying.
Yes,
sex education, it's not, you don't have to wait for school for your child to learn it from the school.
True.
You should be the one to teach your child about all those things, so that when she hears it outside, it will not be a new thing.
It's not be a new thing. Yes, that's true.
So whether it be bad or good, teach your children now. Teach them. As a girl, you're not supposed to involve yourself. As a boy, you're not supposed to involve yourself into it. Understand?
Yes.
And also teach them at what stage one should start engaging into sex activity and all that.
Okay, yes.
Yes, so that is it. It is not, yes, some parents are scared that, oh, if I teach my child about, maybe she will want to go and...
Yeah,
why don't you teach her and let the decision be her? And as you said before, as a parent, you should also be involved.
Be involved.
Yes. Make your children make them as friends. So that whatsoever they pass through in school, when they come, they are free with you.
They're free with you to tell you.
Yes.
So, okay, let's assume like, yeah, maybe the mature kid, they're already in it. Let's say those in the university level. I mean, at that age, children are like, oh, I'm in my freedom age already. Because schools like in Nigeria and maybe other school, it's not like Gambia here where from home you're going to school or from school you're going home, those kind of things. There are places that schools like Nigeria and other countries where you have to leave home because your school is so far from home. You have to leave home and you have to stay outside of home. So there's no one monitoring you. So now, for people at that age and all, what do you think is the best practice for them if at some point they want to experience it? I'm not trying to go all religious, like, oh yes, keep yourself this and that, though we know when you're keeping yourself, that's the best practice ever. That's the best, like keeping yourself is the best practice. But what if at some point you would want to try it? What are the best practices that you need to indulge in? Yeah.
Well, you said as an adult.
Adult. I mean, adult.
Yes, when you are already in the university, now, before you reach there, you must have gotten a lot of knowledge about all those things. So the decision is for you to make. If you want to involve, for you to be in the university, that means you are ready to face any consequence.
I'm talking about the practices. Like, what what are the safety measures that you can take?
Oh,
yes, that's what I'm saying. The safety measure you can take.
Measure you can take for
if you want to involve in it.
Okay. Okay.
This is for adults, so for adults.
For adults. All right. As an adult, you are taught about using something like condom.
Yeah.
Okay. When having an intercourse with your partner, or you also have some medications that is in the form of a tablet that people say you can use it after having sex, so that
after pills, those Plan B pills.
Yes. So I think what
sister, you're laughing too much.
I'm laughing because I've heard people say that they used condom but it didn't work. They found themselves. So that's a twist. So what can you say about that in that kind of situation? Is it that the condom was expired or?
No, scenarios like that, yeah. I think there are different types of condoms. Yeah, there are different types, honestly speaking. There are different types. So probably one, you didn't buy your type, you bought oversized. Or you bought the one that is too tight and it burst. Those two things can happen. Or you bought expired one, like you said. Those are the things that can happen. But
so yes, these are some of the things, there is no 100%. It is, you can say that there's a 100% assurance that if you have sex with an individual using condom, you might not get pregnant.
Yes, it's not 100%. Yes, I don't think they advertise it as 100% either.
And you see some people like going on pill, doing family planning, And I've heard of situations whereby this particular woman, she did family planning, but it didn't work for her.
That thing, it sort of mess up with your hormone. It mess up with your system.
Yes,
I
believe that as an adult, the body system is different. What can work for A might not work for
B.
Yes. So and also heard that they have different type of family planning. So if you opt for the one that does not go with your system and you have an intercourse with your partner, you might get pregnant.
Yes.
So those are some of the things I believe people do not maybe find out before opting for any of those, whether to go for condom, whether to go for family planning, or to go for other
measures. Yeah, there's somewhere I hear they have this little thing where they put to block your fallopian tube. That's where the egg will come from and the likes to fertilize. So they put that thing there so it does not work. Like these things are so
all these things are not 100%. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's not 100%.
Yes.
And the likes.
So That is it. So as an adult, if you want to like indulge yourself into sex, you're supposed to know your body system. So you could go for any of those things I've mentioned in order to prevent pregnancy if you're not yet ready to
Yes.
give birth.
Yeah, that's true. If you're not ready for the family thing, you need to prevent yourself.
And-
if you feel like, oh, my body can't. But you know how they say that thing. But you know before I would. This
Yes.
is what they say.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know before you
That's what they say.
And
to
then-
just make it
and then
cool.
for two adults that are not yet ready to have children, you know, taking any of these, opting for family planning or taking these medications, it also has a disadvantage.
Yeah.
It has a disadvantage. I've heard of that if you take such, it might give you problem in the future.
Yeah,
Like
that's
in giving birth.
certain.
When you
It
stop
gives
taking,
problem.
yeah, when you stop taking,
When you
and
stop
you're
taking
ready,
it,
you're now ready to take in. It becomes
yeah,
another
that's why I
problem.
said it mess with the hormone. That's the thing with it. It just mess up your whole system. And I think our parents or society most of the time, they tend to neglect the male gender. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I feel like the women are more protected than the male gender are. The guys are left to figure out things by themselves. Yeah, I don't know if you
Yes,
understand. They are
I-
left to figure things figure out by themselves.
Yes, you know, you see a mother trying to protect her girl child. There is a reason, you know, as they always say that as a girl child we are like glass cup, and the boy child we are like the plastic cup.
Okay.
You know, when the glass cup falls down, what happens? It breaks.
Yes.
And when it breaks, can you like mend it or form it like it was before?
No,
No.
that's not possible.
So, and when a plastic cup falls down, does it break? No, it doesn't. It remains constant. It remains the way it was. So that is how I say it. Because as a girl child, when you get pregnant, out of let me say, as a teenager, it's a very bad thing.
Yes, it's a bad thing.
Number one, as a student, you stop going to school. But while you stop going to school, it doesn't affect the boy child.
Okay, yes, that's true.
And if the boy child, maybe your boyfriend decide to deny the pregnancy, what proof do you have? And that alone, it's a big shame. It brings shame to the family.
Yes. You're right. But I'm not disputing what you said, okay? I'm just sort of saying like if the male children can also be protected in the sense whereby they are also being, because female children are always being watched. And I believe that's because sometimes there are methods for you to confirm if she has been involved in this or not. But it's different for the guys. You cannot confirm it. That's the problem with it. But if they are more enlightened, I think this sense of a guy trying to test his masculinity and be like the thing in him, like, oh, I think I'm man enough now. I'm having this sort of dreams. I think like I'm man enough. I need to just, I need a woman. So I feel if they are taught enough, like, okay, this is just a stage in your puberty stage. This is a puberty stage. This is stuff that will happen to you. For ladies, they have this menstruation going on with them, developing those big things and all. But for guys, it's different for them. They are having this weird things going on in their body. But the only people they might reach out to is their friends. And they're like, oh man, you're not a big boy now. You're this boy now. You can catch any girl. If you get me? So I think if they are also being enlightened the same way ladies are being told, like, hey, now that you're bleeding, auntie, if any man touch you, that's what I was told. If any man touch me, I'm getting pregnant. That's the thing. That was the fear in me.
Tell you the real
the real deal. So they'll say if man touch you, you get pregnant. So if you can also tell the girl, like, if you touch woman, hey, she will get pregnant. If she get pregnant, your life, the same way you threaten a girl to make her, like, try and instill that into a guy himself, so that I feel like if society is enough to create this protection they've involved around a female child onto a guy child, I feel like both of them will have this sense of, oh, this is not right. Not the girl alone thinking like this is not right, and the guy thinking, I'm man enough. And then he's now the one convincing the lady, like, no, it's not true. Don't worry. Let's just sit and see how it goes. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but I think that's something about society as well. Like men are usually that kept to the side, thinking like they need to figure out that thing. They need to figure it out themselves, which is it's not right. It's not right.
Well, that is what makes a difference. What makes you think that parents don't also protect their boy child?
Not like I think. It's something that's in our society. It's what we see. Men are taught to suppress their emotion more. A man will cry about being in a certain something that a lady will cry out, and people are, yeah, they do that to you. When a man will talk about it, people are always like, come on, you be man now.
Of course.
How woman go do that to you?
That is what makes them domineering.
No, I think, okay, now you're saying that's what makes them domineering. Now you're now justifying the fact that neglecting the male child is right. It's not right. Because some of these things is what build up a right man. Okay, that's what build up a right man. If you can teach your male child, okay, this is that, treat him in a way whereby he also feel like he's protected. Then when he's outside his society, he would want to also protect someone else because he has been around that protection edge, not thinking like, oh yes, I'm the man, I can do my own thing. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but there shouldn't be a sort of difference. Though you can make the lady more because she has more to lose. All right? The lady has more to lose. I get you. That's what you're saying. And I agree with you. A lady have more to lose. But the guy, yes, he should also be protected because it started from him. Like they both came together for that to happen.
It started from him. No, it's both sides.
They both came together
there should
to
be
make
an
it
agreement
happen
before action takes place.
But sometimes it causes this persuasion, and then
no, it's the how do they call the women? They have upper hand. Yes, the ball is in their court. Whatsoever that has to take place,
yes.
The man would first of all have to what?
Have to try and seduce her. So now
Ask
is
the
that
lady,
seducing?
do you
Okay.
want- yeah.
Now is that seducing? The mind that the guy will have, that teenage, because now we're talking about teenagers. I'm talking about adults. Adults can do what they want. I'm talking about teenagers now, especially those that are still in this, primary or secondary. Those are the ones I'm talking about now. Like for you to have that mind to say, oh, you want to try it, you should not, especially at that age when you have so much to lose.
That is the same thing we are saying.
Yes,
for a girl to start having boyfriend, what does she think having boyfriend is all about?
Yeah, these are some things that we need to start telling our kids.
Yeah, that is what sex education, that is where sex education comes in. Because as a girl who does not know about boyfriend, having boyfriend, having a lover, as kids that are growing, you know, normally you wouldn't want a boy to touch you now.
Yes.
It will be like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You know how it used to be.
Yeah.
But then there is a certain age you will reach that you will have this you start
the feeling
some, you want
Explore.
a boy to touch you. That thing will just come. It's some of
it's
the
part
things,
of puberty. Yeah.
It's part of puberty. So that is why at some certain age, as a teenager, as parents who are, always that have parents that have grown-up children like that, they should always be careful. At that age, they should sit them down. My daughter, now you've reached at this particular age, you need to be careful. As a girl, when you start seeing your period, the first people that you will tell
should be your parents.
Should be your parents. So at that moment, that should be the right moment as a mother. As a mother should teach her daughter, you've reached your woman, wood. Is it womanhood they call
Yeah,
it?
womanhood, that's what they say.
So you're supposed to do this. This is what you're supposed to be using. That is where you start teaching your girl child about using of pads. You know, how many times you use it, you know, the stain, this and that. And also at this point, if a man sleeps with you,
Don't say touch.
not touch. You should go straight to the point. If a man sleeps with you, you get pregnant.
Yes.
And this is not the time you should be keeping, like, having intimacy with.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you should not keep a boy as a friend, but there should be a limit.
A limit, a boundary. Set that boundary between you. So now that's where the difference comes in, because now you're talking about, you're bringing it into the feminine side. Yeah. So now that's why I'm trying to view us in the masculine side as well, because this includes two genders. It's not just one gender, okay? Even though one gender tends to go through a certain situation that's far worse, but it involves two genders. So because the other gender as well might be confused. What is happening with me? What is going on with me? So that's the point. When you notice your son is developing some certain behavior in him, like this thing is coming out, his voice is going on, yeah, this and that. So this at the time you need to like sit him and let him know, hey, girls, stay away from them. Let him even know that if you're having girlfriend, this will happen. In fact, you might not tell him the pregnancy part, tell him infection part, because that's something that can happen as well. Let's say pregnancy does not get involved, if they can get infection.
Before talking about infection, that pregnancy is the main thing.
Yeah, pregnancy is the main thing, but infection itself, because there's some infection that they don't have a cure to them. You just maintain them. That alone is damaging. It's already damaged to the guy and the girl involved. So
before you talk about infection, you know, before one can get infection, it's when you start sleeping around.
No, don't. I don't think that's true.
Really?
Someone might be unlucky for the first time. Let's say even the lady herself might not know she's infected through, because infection might not come through intimacy. Probably maybe from brushing or using a sharp, and then she gets infected. And now that guy is like, oh, I want to try this. And then the moment he tries it with her, he's also infected. So it might not be because you're sleeping around. It might be due to you just, from certain object or so. That's it. That's already a damage to your life. I'm sorry, to his life or to their life. To their life. So that's another part of it for a guy. Because, when you're saying pregnancy, they might not really see to it because it's the girl, it's not me. If she give a birth to a baby, mommy, you'll be there, you take care of the baby. But let them know that infection can come into this thing. Some parents might go as far as using spirituality into it, like, oh, your glory will be gone. You will not make this type of things. But it's not like we're trying to instill fear in them. We're just trying to instill this sense of knowing when to do the right thing. That this thing, they have a time for them. This is not the right time for it. Not now that you're still building yourself up. When you've gotten to that stage and you've met that person, or when you're ready, then do it. Not when you're still in doubt or thinking like, oh, I need to try this thing. So that's why most of the things, they come from the parent side. They come from the home itself. And that's what we are lacking. It's what we lack. Because some parents don't really show affection within themselves, not to talk of saying, let me sit my child down and start telling my child this sort of things. So I feel like this things start from home. And schools will do their best. Like I told you, my own secondary school, they didn't tell me much about anything I need to know. All they thought it was, infection, body system, and the likes of it. But the fact that, where I come from home, my dad was very involved with my life. He was strict. And strict in the sense like anything I am doing, you're going to school, you're coming back from school, what was class, go and study, go and do this. That was how my dad was. So I sort of think he shaped me. I appreciate him for that, and I appreciate my mom for that as well. So that's what most parents should do. Be involved in your kid's life. Not all the time, I'm working. Yes, you're working, we know that. But once in a while, even if it's night time, when you're all seated in the parlor, or just ask something, ask a question. That's just, I think, what I see to it as well.
I need to add as well, like the people we allow around our children matters too. The people we allow, we should be very watchful. we've heard stories, even seen videos where maids or one uncle or auntie, try to bring their kid into trying to indulge. I don't want to go too deep into this conversation, but what I'm just trying to say is be involved in your kid life enough to be watchful as well. And whenever an adult is playing some certain nonsense play, when your child is trying to hug and you're hugging, you're rubbing, you're like, stop that. Don't rub my stop.
Because those sort of things too, there are some of the things that can bring up this emotion in kids, and they are young, they don't know anything yet, and then they'll, at one time you might not be at home, something might happen, so be watchful.
Yeah, I believe it's only God that can protect the children, because we have parents who have done their best. You cannot be with the children 24 hours. They go to school.
Definitely.
You don't know the friends they mingle with at school. When they come home, when you have a housemaid, you don't, as parents, you cannot like leave your job, and be at home looking after your kids 24 hours when you're not a housewife and all of that. I believe it's only God and that can do that, and praying for your children and also be close to your kids.
Yeah, close to them enough. So
each time you come from work, you should take that responsibility of asking them how their day went and the activity they involve, and trying to hear some things from them.
Yes.
Go deeper. When you are friendly with kids, they become open to you.
True.
So there is nothing they will hide from you, because the world that we are living in is very wicked. There can be somebody under your nose that will be the one to like spoil your kids.
Spoil your kid.
I've heard of stories like that. This man was saying that he can't control himself. It's difficult for him to control himself when he's with a woman. What made it like that? His aunt.
Aunt.
Yes. When he was a kid, his aunt would be playing with his manhood.
Yeah.
So imagine, why would he be playing with a child's manhood? And that was going gradually, and he grew up like that. Child abuse.
Exactly. That's true. And that's why
as parents, you can never, imagine that such a thing
will happen. And that same auntie will be living happily in her own husband's house there, or doing something. That's why I want to emphasize more on what you said, like, yes, you're not around, yes, this, yes, that. But make sure, like, you're asking your child, what is happening? What happened today? Don't make it sound in the way whereby they'll be scared enough, and don't go all this, because don't go yelling. And when they tell you something, don't deny it. Try and make them know that, oh yes, I believe you. Okay, and what happened? Oh really? Make it sound like, oh, you're trying to hear the gist, and then do whatever. Like, just take a decision. If it's go to the police or whatever you want, just take a decision behind them. But let that child know, like, my mom, my dad, my guardian, whoever it is watching over me. Because sometimes you can take them out maybe to stay with their family member or something for holidays, and it might be one outsider who is coming to visit even that family member that's doing that nonsense.
But my dear, people can be wicked.
People can be wicked.
They can be doing this to a child, and they'll be like, if you tell your mom or your dad, I will do this to you, and will do this to you, out of fear.
Out of fear. That's the reason why I think the mom, if we're able to let our kid know, like, don't be afraid of me. Because that's the problem with having strict parents too sometimes. When you're too strict, that everything you are yelling, I think your kids will be too scared to even reach out to you.
No matter how loving you are with your kids, what is going to happen will happen, my dear.
Yeah, what is going to happen will happen. But let's hope it happens in a way whereby they are able to tell you and you are able to counter it before it's too late. It's better late than never. That's usually the saying.
So what would you say about this um a woman that has a girl child, okay, she hires a taxi driver that takes her child to school every morning. The taxi driver has become like a family member now, trusting the person so much, so that you are free leaving your child with him. And all of a sudden, one day, you no longer see your child, and the next thing you heard was she was raped, and it's the dead body that they found. Who did it? The taxi driver.
Who will be the taxi driver? I don't understand.
No. Who, like, the girl was found dead as a result of
that's
rape.
an unfortunate situation, and I don't want to.
Is it 3 years or no? Not 3 years, 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate situation, and I don't want to imagine that. I don't want to start making scenarios that happen, because this is someone who is no more. We don't know if the taxi driver was already making some certain, instances or stuff towards the girl before that she was not saying to her mom, thinking like, oh, it's not going to be that bad or so.
4 or 5 years. How do you expect that child?
That's the thing.
Before even talking about that, what about parents that have sex with their girl child?
Hey, auntie, that's really out of the whole thing. What we are talking about, that's way out. No. It's out of topic, because what we are talking about now is sex education, how parents
sex education.
Because now what you're talking about situations where now these people who are meant to protect their own children are now the one inflicting that pain on their kids. Abusing their own kids. And now at this point of time, there's no one to protect them. And that's where that's another way where we're having wayward or people outside of the society who are traumatized with this type of thing. If luckily they're able to speak enough for themselves, they might, get healing or get therapy out there. Or that's a whole situation outside of this topic, honestly speaking. Because sex education now, no, I'm being sincere.
Of course.
Because sex education now, education
is a very it's a broad topic.
It's a broad topic, and now what we're trying to sit on is, you as a parent or you as a guardian, how can you educate your child on sex? Or you as a teacher in school, what are the measures you can take to educate your students about sex? That's what we're talking about right now.
Sure.
So we're not trying to start looking at the devil as parents who
that is,
unfortunately for that child was born into that family, because those things happen. I'm not denying it. They happen. Honestly speaking, they happen. But no matter what you have been through as a parent, trauma, you must never. It's even disgusting to even think about it.
But it's happening in society.
Yeah, it's happening. That's the
sex
thing.
Education we're talking about. Some parents are very wicked. They would want to teach the child that way.
That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. It's just like we were saying. If you want to teach your child, sit them down, explain to them, talk to them, advise them. That's sex education. But what you are now doing, like you said, is child abuse. That's not sex education anymore. That's you exploiting your child's innocence. So now, in this way, if that child is small and the likes of it, there's no way you can be able to tell that child like, oh, do this, do that, because this is someone that I thought should be my protector. What are the measures I can take? I can't do anything. I'm still staying under their roof. You can't tell that child to leave the house. So honestly speaking, coming to sex education at that point, it's so out of topic. It's so out of topic. No, it's so out of, because that topic that
you don't want to imagine.
No, I don't.
You don't want to talk about it.
I don't, because it's a sensitive thing. It's happening out there, and it's very sensitive. So it's not something I can just talk out plainly like that. It's not something I can say plainly.
Of course, that's the thing we need to talk about.
So okay, now if it's something we need to talk about, what do you think should be solutions? What do you think people should take? What if they are still too young to do anything? If they are old enough, fine, they can take measures of therapy, or I don't think anybody would want like sue their parents or do something. Or if neighbors are lucky enough to find that out, they can be the one to even arrest that parent. Like these things, they can happen in so many ways. So I believe we should just, stick back to our conversation. No, like just go back and stick back to the question of parents who are really parents,
Yeah.
but probably due to some one reason or the other, they are not being able to. Let's enlighten them on what they should do. That's where we should sit down. Let's enlighten them on what they should do. Teacher who are like, if you're a teacher, let's enlighten you as a teacher what you should do. Since we've been talking about this, we said parents need to be watchful, and as guardian, you also need to be watchful. Make sure you're playing your role in your child's life, or whoever it is that's placed under your care. Because when you're noticing things different, when you're noticing things that are not right, make sure you reach out. Make sure you make yourself open enough for whoever it is to open up to you as well. And as a parent, once in a while, just go to your kids' school, check in on them, know what's going on. And once again, our topic was sex education, the importance of sex education in school, to be taught in school as well. And like I said, my name is Mona Lisa, and my co-host was Jojo. Thank you for today. Bye.